Ladies and gentlemen, I am faced with the same difficulty that my Chinese friend yesterday went through last session before lunch. So this is once again for last 1.5 days you would have been listening to these two words, rehabilitation and reconciliation, reintegration, as have become few familiar words to you now. So without trying to explain it, I will just go to the presentation proper. And speaking about the rehabilitation and reintegration, and when we started this time, we launched this humanitarian operation by going by these fundamental limitations or principles or fundamentals. We maintain zero casualties to civilian and minimum and made sure that we cause minimum damages to the civilian and government properties and minimum damages to the military, and also causing maximum damage to the LTT leadership especially. So these are the fundamentals on which we went to the fighting this time. So we basically in 2009, what we achieved is physical elimination of the terrorism. And thereafter, the government was faced with many new challenges, overcoming the problem and going up to sustainable peace. And basically when you are fighting or tackling a major challenge of this nature, there are two main elements in fighting a war. That's the physical elimination and psychological elimination. In the process, you got to achieve all that to bring sustainable peace. So Commissioner General Rehabilitation was entrusted with the responsibility of rehabilitating and reintegrating those ex-cadres or the ex-combatants, whatever you call them. Now we call them beneficiaries and rehabilitated cadres and so on. So here, when we were entrusted with this responsibility at the initial stage, we were discussing whether it was a burden or an opportunity, or how you perceive it basically becomes a challenge. So we rightfully, the government decided, or the government took it as an opportunity. So government introduced a new Bureau of Commissioner General Rehabilitation. Officers were appointed, and we developed a new concept. We put that concept into practice. We implemented it and managed successfully, and also based on a time frame that we set initially. So it was basically a comprehensive organization was created. We got all those professionals available, and a lot of people were asking how, yesterday there was a question, why military was getting involved. Here, when there was a vacuum at the civilian to administrative structure, military officers were used to fill those vacuums. So here the same thing happened. So military was basically managing it. I, as a Commissioner General, we were managing it. The structure, putting the structure in place and getting resources available in the military to fill those vacuums. So the professionals, the capable people were taken from outside. Whatever the required number of professionals were taken from different segment of the government or the international community. So if you look at the challenge, if you look at the numbers that we initially, this is also known to all of you now, 11,624. This is the initial number. Later it became more. And we carried out a profiling system at the initial stage to identify these people and their levels of radicalization, and how much of activities that they have got involved with the LTT, what they have been doing in the LTT, the fighting or intelligence or things like that, in order to put them into the rehabilitation process. So we separated them according to their gender, the level of involvement, level of competencies they had developed within the organization, education background they had before, and while serving while in the organization, all that was taken into consideration, and we did a very comprehensive profiling system, and thereby we could identify the right people for right kind of rehabilitation to put them into different groups. So, for example, the children, we put them into two categories. One, the category to go through a formal education system. The other one was those who did not have the qualifications. We sent them through a vocational training package. Those who were qualified to go through the formal education were brought into Colombo and given the best of facilities. Before they were brought into Colombo, they were not just ordered and pulled them and brought. We got their parents, we got their relatives, we got the influential people in the society, we got the religious leader, we got teachers and everybody. We got a superb cross-section of the society that they were living and had a long interaction with those people, and we presented what we are trying to do to these children. Then they were convinced, children were happy. So thereafter only they were brought to Colombo. When they were brought to Colombo, they were given best of facilities. Not only these children, all others who went through this process of rehabilitation were given the best of facilities. Best of professionals, as I told earlier, was introduced to give them right training, the exposure, even sports and other activities. Many activities were given to them. Sent them through the proper education and the vocational training system. So they were happy, they're happily going through. As a result, it was very easy for us to do our job. So our basic objective was to send them through a very comprehensive program to address their psychological, emotional, and economic and so on, to transform those most dangerous terrorists to be peace-loving, harmonious, and responsible members of our society while reintegrated into the social fabric. So, in order to achieve this, we developed a system of our own. That's called the 6+1 system, model rather. Here, why we had to do this? Because when the government was faced with this major challenge of rehabilitation, creating large number of LTT cadres, I got soon after the conflict, and I got a call from highest level, and I was given this task of as the Commissioner General Rehabilitation. As a soldier, I did not have any option. I undertook it. When I took the task, I was just looking around to find a methodology to send them through, do the rehabilitation process. Country did not have a proper structure or a concept to do that. So I went around the world. I went to various universities. I went to certain countries. I started talking to various people and went through various models developed by various countries, organizations, individuals. And thereby we realized that there was something missing or lacking in those systems to fit into our system. That is why we had to develop a system of our own, homegrown system. Here, whilst trying to develop the system, we realized how the LTT transformed these innocent children or people to be most dangerous terrorists. You know, so the Tamil community basically is one of the most innocent, intellectual, educated, cultured communities in the world. So members from that society, how Prabhakaran and the team has taken